Thank you for visiting our channel. Please like, share and subscribe for more exciting food videos. The Flaky Truth, uncovering the secrets of perfect croissants. We all know the allure of a perfectly flaky, buttery croissant. It's the ultimate breakfast pastry. Or is it a snack, or even dessert? Whatever the time of day, a good croissant is hard to resist. But have you ever wondered what makes these layers of dough and butter so irresistible? From the outside, a croissant looks simple. But anyone who's tried to make one from scratch knows it's not as easy as it seems. The perfect balance of crispy edges and soft center requires a combination of skill, patience, and a little bit of magic. So, what's the secret to making perfect croissants at home? Unraveling the mysteries of the croissant. To truly appreciate the art of making perfect croissants, we need to take a step back and explore where this delicious pastry came from. What makes it so unique, and how did it become a staple in bakeries around the world? A brief history of croissants. The origin story of the croissant is a fascinating one. It's a tale of cultural exchange, innovation, and a dash of luck. The croissant's ancestors were actually Austrian pastries called Kipfel, which date back to the 13th century. These early pastries were made with a simple dough of flour, water, and salt, and were often flavored with nuts or seeds. Fast forward to the 17th century, when Austria and France were at war. A clever Viennese baker created a pastry that would become the croissant, as a way to mock the French crescent moon symbol. Little did he know, his creation would one day become a beloved French classic. When Marie Antoinette, an Austrian princess, married Louis XVI of France, she brought her favorite pastry chefs with her to the French court. They introduced the French to the Kipfel, which quickly gained popularity. Over time, the French adapted the recipe, adding their own twist with layers of butter and dough. And so, the croissant was born. The role of lamination in croissant making. So, what makes a croissant a croissant? The answer lies in the process of lamination. Lamination is the technique of layering dough and butter to create the flaky, tender texture that croissants are famous for. It's a painstaking process that requires patience, skill, and a bit of finesse. Here's how it works. The dough is rolled out to a precise thickness, then topped with a layer of butter. The dough and butter are folded together, creating multiple layers. The process is repeated several times, with the dough and butter being rolled, folded, and rotated to create the signature flaky texture. The result is a pastry that's both crispy and tender, with a flavor that's both rich and subtle. It's a delicate balance that requires a deep understanding of the ingredients, the process, and the nuances of lamination. But trust us, the end result is well worth the effort. The science of croissant making. Making perfect croissants requires more than just a good recipe. It demands a deep understanding of the science behind the process. From the role of yeast in fermentation to the importance of high-quality butter, every ingredient plays a crucial part in creating the flaky, tender texture that croissants are famous for. In this section, we'll explore the key elements that make up the science of croissant making. The importance of yeast in croissant dough. Yeast is the unsung hero of croissant making. Without it, the dough would be dense and flat, lacking the light, airy texture that makes croissants so irresistible. But what exactly does yeast do? In simple terms, yeast ferments the sugars in the dough, producing carbon dioxide gas bubbles that get trapped in the layers of dough and butter. This process, called proofing, is what gives croissants their signature rise. But yeast's role goes beyond just making the dough rise. It also contributes to the development of the croissant's flavor and texture. As the yeast ferments, it produces compounds that give the croissant a slightly sour, nutty flavor. And by breaking down the starches in the flour, yeast helps to create a tender, delicate crumb. The role of butter in croissant making. Butter is the star of the show when it comes to croissant making. It's what gives the pastry its rich, indulgent flavor and flaky texture. But not just any butter will do. High quality, European-style butter with a high fat content is essential for creating the perfect croissant. So, what makes this type of butter so special? For starters, it has a higher fat content than regular butter, which means it's more tender and less likely to melt during the baking process. This is important because it allows the butter to maintain its structure and create the flaky, layered texture that croissants are famous for. But the quality of the butter also affects the flavor of the croissant. European-style butter has a richer, more nuanced flavor than regular butter, which is perfect for balancing out the sweetness of the dough. The art of folding and rolling croissant dough. Folding and rolling the croissant dough is an art that requires patience, skill, and a bit of finesse. It's a process that's both meditative and frustrating, as you carefully fold and roll the dough to create the signature layers. So, how does it work? The process starts with a simple fold, where the dough is folded in half over the butter. Then, the dough is rolled out to a precise thickness, and the process is repeated several times, with the dough and butter being rolled, folded, and rotated to create the signature flaky texture. The key to successful folding and rolling is to keep the dough and butter at the right temperature. If the butter is too cold, it won't roll out evenly. And if it's too warm, it will melt and lose its structure. It's a delicate balance that requires a bit of trial and error, but the end result is well worth the effort. We've just scratched the surface of what makes a perfect croissant. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.